Hello and welcome to the More Confidence with Luna Gaia podcast. I am your host, Lunaria Gaia, and here we talk all things body image, self-esteem, your thinking in your mind. How do you connect true to you in every part of who you are? I want you to know that all of you is welcome, so sit back and relax and listen to today's episode. Sending you love. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the More Confidence with Lunaria Gaia podcast. I am, of course, your host, Luna Gaia, and on today's episode 131, we're going to be talking about the 6 keys to success in self-esteem. Hello, and welcome to episode 131 of the More Confidence with Luna Gaia podcast. It is so fantastic to have you here. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 6 keys to self-esteem for success in life. That's a lot of S's. The 6 keys, the self-esteem for success in life. Because here's what we know, right? When we don't believe in ourselves, it becomes very difficult to be successful in whatever we are pursuing. And that might be that we're pursuing something along the lines of being a great parent. It might be that we're pursuing something to do with our bodies. It might be a dream that we are chasing after. Perhaps it's being able to do something that you've never been able to do before, like learn to roller skate or hike a mountain. Whatever it is for you, success in your life comes from strong self-esteem. And it's actually something that happens as a bit of a cycle. The more success we have in our life, the higher our self-esteem gets, and so on and so forth. When we have reference points of success, we feel better about ourselves. So it's really important when it comes to success is understanding the role that self-esteem plays in this. The way that we see ourselves is going to determine how and what we think that we are capable of. We've all heard that saying that if you think you can or you can't, you're probably right. I think Henry Ford says something along those lines. And what we need to understand here is that your belief in yourself is going to determine a huge proportion of what you are capable in your life. Way back when, running the 4-minute mile, nothing had ever been done. You could not have broken the record of a 4-minute mile. It was believed in those times before the 4-minute mile was broken, was that if you ran that fast, your heart would literally explode in your chest. And one specific man, he decided that he was going to break the 4-minute mile. And in his mind's eye, no one had ever done it before. Certainly not on record, and certainly not that he ever knew. In his mind's eye, he saw 3 minutes 59 on the clock, that he'd just finished the mile and saw 3:59. And he repeatedly, as he was running, he saw 3:59, 3:59, 3:59, 3:59. And training, determination, persistence, perseverance, he broke the 4-minute mile. And ever since then, people have been breaking the 4-minute mile. Why? Why was it that his chest didn't have his heart explode out of it? Why was it, when you really think about it? What made that thing a success? What made him be successful in those moments? Was it the fact that his body all of a sudden became fitter and leaner? Maybe. Did it have something to do with the training methods at that point in time? Did he eat differently? Perhaps. The defining factor here is that somebody told him that 4 minutes was as fast as you could possibly get, and he did not believe it. He had decided that he was going to train harder. He had decided that he was going to break that belief that he had about himself, that the world had about him and everybody around him, suggested that you couldn't do it faster than 4 minutes. And he did. And since then, people have been doing it much, much faster. How does this relate to you in your life? There are things that are holding you back. And most of the time, it's right up here in your noggin. They're your beliefs. What you believe to be true about yourself will become true about yourself. And perhaps maybe if you want to be 5'10", but you're only 5'5", I wouldn't necessarily call that a limiting belief. Although you can put stilts on, you can wear high heels, you can, in a lot of ways, make yourself 5'10" if that's what the goal here is that you're moving towards. But for the most part, I'm talking about the kind of beliefs of, I can't. I can't because I'm a woman, because I don't have the money, because I'm limited in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, we all have limitations. There are all parts of us that can hold us back in some way, shape, or form. But we can either use that to our advantage or we can let it define us and say, no, I can't because I have type 1 diabetes. Or no, I can't because I don't have enough money. I can't because. Or you can make some decisions around what can you do? What is possible? If you were to go beyond your thinking and your current thinking about who you are and what you think that you're capable of, what would be possible? And that's what we're going to talk today about on this episode. The 6 things that you need to know, the 6 keys to build that self-esteem so you can have more success in your life. Lots of people want to be successful, right? You have a lot of people out there chasing money, chasing dreams, chasing goals. But most people, in a lot of ways, and they would say it themselves, don't ever get there, wherever there happens to be. You see a lot of people who want success in whatever area in their life, and we're going to define that shortly about what success is for the sake of today's podcast episode. But think about it for yourself. How many people that you know are really successful in their lives? In whatever that they're going after? Not many. Most people have made a decision that what they have right now will do. And if you are happy in that, and if that's what you want of wherever you are right now, rock on, brothers and sisters, rock on. I'm not one to say that we must chase external success at the cost of everything else. Because to me, what success really is the constant and never-ending improvement and dedication to the path of the things that you want in your life. And to me, that includes happiness. It has to include happiness, because if we are moving towards the direction of our goals, if we are step by step getting closer and closer and closer to the outcomes that we want in our life, but we are not happier in the process, to me, that is not success. So when I talk about success on today's podcast episode, what I'm going to be referring to as success is the pursuit of your goals, the achievement of your goals incrementally over time, from a place of growth that leads to happiness. Yeah. So it's getting the things that you want in your life incrementally over a long period of time and being happy along the way. Because what's the point of getting all the things? How are you honestly successful if you've got all the money in the world, but no love in your heart? How can you honestly say you're successful by achieving the certain goals that you're after, but you're miserable? That to me is a huge failure. For me personally, I would find that if I was to achieve a lot of external things in my life and yet still was not happy and content within who I was, then that is the greatest failure of my life. Happiness is my driver, peace and contentment. And I'm not talking here about pleasure. I'm talking about peace and contentment, which is a whole other podcast episode, which I think I'll talk about maybe in another coming up episode. For today, we want to talk about building our self-esteem so that we can have success in our lives. A lot of people want it, and very few people get it. And even the way that I've languaged that, even the way that society languages it, that we get success, that all of a sudden one day we're successful, we achieve a certain thing, and then we are successful. But success isn't like that. Because you could look at wherever you are at now and see yourself as a failure. Oh, I haven't got the money that I want. I haven't got exactly the body that I want. I don't exactly have the relationship that I want. But do you have more than you did 10 or 15 years ago? If you were to look at your life now and what you do every day, the relationships that you have, the body that you have, the money that you have, Would the 18-year-old version of you be impressed? Think, wow. What about the 10-year-old version of you? Would that version of you look up to you right now and think, she made it, he made it, they've done it? It's pretty likely that yes. Because our brain has this really beautiful way of convincing ourselves that right now is not enough. And so I need you to know that right now is enough. Whatever you've got going on in your world right now, this is probably a little bonus one. Maybe it's the 7 keys to self-esteem and success in life. Let's start with this one. Now is enough. When you've realized that you are already successful in so many ways, that builds upon success. Because when you have a mindset that goes, I'm a failure, I'm not enough, look around you, this is horrible, I'm not getting the things that I want in my life, or this is just meh, it's just mediocre, then what you're focusing on is mediocrity. What you're focusing on is less than what you have right now. So it's really important that we show gratitude and to look for what is good already here in the world, in your world. You are watching or listening to this podcast right now, likely on some kind of device, be that your phone, be that a laptop. However it is that you are tuning into this content right now, you are really privileged. You're likely to have a roof over your head. There's likely to be money in the bank. You have a device in your hands or in your being that's worth thousands of dollars on the market right now. Maybe you're listening to an earbuds. Maybe you're at the gym. Maybe you're driving in your car. All of these things are incredible. And you could, if you wanted to, stop and actually appreciate them. You could stop and go, wow, there's a roof over my head. Wow, there is books on my shelf. There is love in my heart. I can hear, I can see. I have access to the entire world's knowledge at the touch of my fingertips. You can stop and be grateful for that. And when you do stop and be grateful for that, success comes to you more easily because you are looking for the opportunities. You are looking for things that are already good. That's your bonus number 1 here. So I'm going to change this to 7. These are the 7 keys to self-esteem and success in life. Because that's your bonus one. Look for what is already good. Look for what is already enough, because your mind is going to find all the reasons why what you have already is not enough. Again, that's a whole other podcast episode. But for today, just know that your mind is looking for all the reasons why it can't, all the reasons why this is not enough, and you can choose your focus. You can make a different decision around this. Have a look around you and see what is already good. Have a look at the evidence where you are already successful, and you will find it in lots of areas in your life. And that will build momentum towards the next areas of your life that you want to work on when it comes to your success. As I said before, I define success as moving incrementally towards your desired outcomes while being happy. And when I say happy, again, I don't mean that you feel great every day and that everything's amazing all the time. I do not believe in toxic positivity. It is not what I stand for. What I talk about happiness is knowing that all is well deep inside of you. On the days when you don't feel like it, you're able to get up and go. Because moving towards happiness from a place of you have to feel good all the time means that you'll miss out on all the glory of what pain is. Pain is really, really useful. Failure is really useful. And that's what I want to talk about here on this first step. We've already had the bonus. The first thing that you need to know when it comes to building really strong self-esteem in order to have success in your life is you need to stop thinking it's going to be easy. It's not. My loves, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody. And they're not. We've spoken about that. Not everybody is going after their dreams because not everybody is willing to do what is hard. It's going to be painful at times. Success in anything. You were brought into this world by a woman. A woman grew you in her belly in her womb space and in some way, shape, or form delivered you into the world. Be that by cesarean, be that through vaginal, however it was, that woman grew you, and that was hard. It made her tired. It slowed her down. For all those mamas out there who have ever made a baby, shout out to you, because being pregnant is hard work. I remember a friend of mine telling me before I was pregnant, they said that being pregnant is like walking. Sitting is like walking is like running, and running is like death. That the bigger you get, the more that you're growing. There is so much energy going into creating this new life. It's difficult. Things get hard in that process. And I'm not saying that you need to focus on how hard it is. I need you to be aware that it's not always going to be easy. And when you see people who are successful in their lives, maybe they have the things in their life that you want. Maybe they have an amazing relationship. Maybe they have the body of their dreams. Maybe they are working in a field that you want to be working in. Maybe you even see celebrities living a life that seems totally glamorous. You have to know that every single person who's ever reached any level of success in their life, it has not been easy. Because hard is what makes you get back up again. Hard is what makes you resilient. Hard is what makes you step forward into the things that you need to do in your life. What's easy is lying on the couch. Super easy in the short term. I don't have to come on here and deliver a podcast. It would be way easier for me to lie on the couch, right? The things that I need to do to set up this space in order to come and hang out with you. Sure, maybe now it's not so hard because I've done a lot of hard times in the past. You see, I'm stronger now because of the hard things. If we are only thinking that it's going to be easy, it's just going to be hard. Understand that. If you're willing to do the hard things now, life becomes easier. Success becomes easier. If you are only willing to do the easy things now, life becomes hard. It's easy for me to lie in bed or lie on the couch rather than go to the gym. It's hard for me to hang on that dead hang and then lift my knees up, hanging from a bar to try to build my core strength. It's hard for me to put that heavy weight on my back and do squats. It's hard. It's much easier to be on the couch. But in 1, 2, 10, 20 years, the hard things that I'm doing now are going to make my life easier. They're making my life easier now because I'm stronger, I'm fitter, I'm able to do more things in the world, I'm able to recover easier from injuries. If I did the short-term easy thing, which is lie on the couch or sleep in another day, it's limiting my ability to be able to do things in the future. My muscle's going to atrophy. I'm not going to be strong. I'm not going to be able to build bone density. I'm going to carry more weight than my body needs it to. And that will put more pressure on my organs. All of those things are going to become more difficult if I do the easy thing now. So understand that success isn't easy. That's why not everybody is doing it. In fact, heck, you could stop listening to this podcast right now. You could stop listening to this episode right now. I don't recommend it because I've got 5 more to go. But if that's all you take away from today's conversation is the understanding that anybody who's successful in their lives in whatever they're doing, they have worked hard for it, then you are already miles ahead of the curve. Miles. Stop thinking it's going to be easy, my loves, because it won't be. Number 2 here on the things that you need to know to build your self-esteem in order to be successful. It's a long game. Long game. Because you'll have wins along the way in your life when it comes to success. You'll have things that you're moving towards. But true success is a mindset forever. Because we all know those people who maybe are really successful. We've heard of the people who are really successful. Maybe they earn a lot of money and they go bankrupt for whatever reason. If they remain bankrupt, they haven't actually cultivated a success mindset. But most people who've made it big, become bankrupt, they will end up building more businesses in that example, right? You've got to understand that this is a long-term game. It's forevermore. How old are you now? 20, 30, 40, 60? How many more years do you probably likely have left in your life? For me, I'm 40 this year, so I've got statistically, I'm about halfway, right? So if I only think success in the next 3 months or even 1 year or even 10 years, there's 30 more years that I need to be able to make it sustainable. It's a long-term game, and I really highly recommend that you stretch all your goals in life out. We vastly overestimate what we can do in a year and horribly underestimate what we can do in a decade or 2 or 3 or 4. 4 decades, statistically, I've got left here. 4 decades. And I think about how far I've come in the last decade. And I've got another 4 to go. That's exciting. Whereas if I look at, oh my God, how far have I come in the last week? How far have I come in the last even 12 months? Well, I'm not very successful at the moment because of whatever markers that our brain wants to see as success or not success. But when we stretch it out and realize that it's a long-term game, that it's going to be something that's forevermore, your mindset shifts in that. Because you're showing up to the thing every day, every week, every month, every year, every decade. Because you're moving to something bigger towards just the diet mentality of get it done now. If you want to lose weight, for example, if you think that there's too much weight on your body for you to be healthy and you want to be healthier, if you only look at the next 3 months, like I used to do, another podcast episode in that, like 3 months, I would think I need to lose 20 kilos in the next 3 months. And if I hadn't lost it in 3 months, I was disappointed in myself. And very often, if I did lose in those 3 months, within the next 9 months, so within 12 months, I was back to where I started with some. Whereas when you go about realizing, okay, well, this is forever. If this is forever, if it means that I get to be in a healthy, leaner, stronger, fitter, more able-bodied over the next 40 years of my life, then my decisions are going to be different. Because I'm not going to hammer myself in those 3 months, diet to the point of exhaustion and punching somebody. What I'm going to do instead is realize that life is for living, and there are going to be times where I'm going to drink margaritas and have potato chips for dinner. Happened just on the weekend. It was delicious. I loved it. And also, during the week and my weeks and my most common habits are going to be around moving my body and eating a variety of fresh, healthy foods. Drinking plenty of water and less alcohol. But if I've got short-term gains on my mind, then I'm not thinking long-term. And I'm going to make sacrifices in the short term that aren't sustainable over a longer period of time. So I'm going to continue to fail as a result of that. Like I did time and time again. Like that's what yo-yo dieting is. People continuing to go back to their old ways because they didn't change anything about actually their goals, not who they're being. I want this immediate outcome now, as soon as I quickly possibly can. Yay, I feel good. Now I'm going to go back to my old ways. Make it long-term, my loves. I started to play the piano 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I decided I want to be a decent piano player. And my goal 4 years ago was that in 10 years' time, I'll be pretty good at it. And you know what my goal is now? People would go, well, that's 6 years. You've got 6 years to go. No, I've got 10. And every year I have 10 years to go. because it's forever. There's no big like, oh, I need to get here because it's about me making money or becoming a superstar in piano or anything like that. I just want to be better at it. It's long term. By the time I'm 80 in some nursing home, I want to be able to like play some cool piano for everybody. And just for the glory of learning how to play it and getting better and better year on year on year. That's where it's gold. And that's where I highly encourage you to lengthen your goals out. Make it a long-term plan rather than a short-term goal. Number 3 here on self-esteem, building tips in order to have long-term success. What you want to do here is get educated. You really got to understand that there's things that you don't know. In whatever area you're looking at, if it's me with the piano, I'm going to have to go take some lessons at some point in time. Be that on an app, be that on YouTube for free, be that listening to podcasts, be that going to a piano teacher, be that enrolling in school. Whatever it is, you're going to have to at some point go get educated. And you get educated through reading books, through watching content. One of my favorite ways to get education is to work with a coach. Some kind of trainer, some kind of teacher who has the results in that area that I want. So I go learn directly from them. It's why I have a piano teacher. It's why I have a singing teacher. It's why I have a Spanish teacher. It's why I have life coaches. It's why I have business coaches. It's why I invest a lot of money and have done over the last 10, 15, 20 years of my life. I'm talking upwards of $200,000 I've invested in my education over the last 10 years. Because I understand that there are people who know things that I don't yet. And if I go learn directly from the people who have the results that I want, I'm going to get better at it. I'm educating myself constantly. You listening to this podcast right now is a good example of that. You're educating yourself in other areas that aren't necessarily, they're not necessarily going to directly relate to your success, right? In the sense of like, I'm going to go see a coach and tomorrow I'll be successful. But you build your education over a period of time and that will compound. They will compound again and again and again. Education, my friends, particularly in the realm of personal development, of educating yourself, will prove successful because you cannot unlearn something. Once you've learned it, you know how to do it. It's embedded within you and that can't be taken away from you. So number 3 is go get educated. Number 4 here, you're probably not going to like all that much, but I need you to expect failure. Yes, this is a podcast about success and I'm telling you that you need to expect failure. The only way that you succeed is by failing. You need to make the mistakes. We learn so much through getting it wrong, through not doing it right, that it's gold, an absolute gold mine. Success is a very poor teacher. So I need you to realize that failure is part of the deal. So when you fail, because you will, when you are on your knees, because that's where you're going to be at some point in time, understand that this is part of the success. That's how you do it. Every single person that you know that is successful in whatever area in their life has failed. They've gotten rejection. They've gotten no's. People have told them, I don't want to get your music. You're hopeless. There's so many examples of this. Oprah Winfrey, Freddie Mercury, Taylor Swift, Kentucky Fried Chicken guy, the Colonel. Nearly every single one of them will tell you stories about how nobody wanted to listen to their music. Nobody wanted to try their recipe. No one wanted to hire them. And it is in the getting back up where you build the resilience, where you build the self-esteem. Right, everybody thinks I'm a piece of crap. I'm going to have to believe in myself more than anybody else then. You keep building on it. People who aren't successful believe what they see when they're lying down. They think that that's all there is. What you need to do in order to make it different is to believe, when you're lying on your back, make sure you're looking at your stars. Yeah? Get back up again and again and again and again and again. I don't care how many times. You get knocked down, you get back up. You get knocked down, you stay down there for a while. It sucks. You get back up. That's what it takes. That's what success actually takes. You have to keep getting back up, and that's how you build the muscle around that. Like we said in the first one, It's not going to be easy. It will be hard because you are going to have to get your ass back off the ground again. And it's okay. It's part of the deal. Number 5 here. This is a really important one. The outcomes are cool. Just say you want to make your first $1 million. You want to make a first $1 million. That's a very cool outcome. And what most people do is drive towards that outcome. Well, what do I need to do to get that outcome? Outcome. It's great for you to know where you're moving towards, but you need to reverse engineer that. Not only what do I have to do in order to have that outcome, but who do I need to be? When you focus on who you're becoming or being more than the outcome, you will automatically move in that direction. That's what it takes. You need to become the person. And that's why the failures count. That's why getting educated is so important. That's why creating a long-term game is critical. That's why you realizing that it's going to be hard is so important, because that is cultivating who you are becoming. You become that person. You might think to yourself, oh, you know what? There's an artist within me. I know that if I could just get a break, then I could paint the world and it would be incredible. You haven't become that person yet. You haven't sucked enough. You haven't failed enough. You haven't learned enough. You haven't succeeded enough along the way to build your reference points. You haven't built the networks. And maybe you're sitting here thinking to yourself, I have been doing that. I've been slogging my guts up, getting back, and I'm still not successful. Why? The further we are pulled back, the further we're going to shoot. Like the elastic band. If I pull this back, this elastic band back, and imagine that rubber band being pulled back, the more that I pull it back, the further that it goes. If you just pull it back a little bit, it can't shoot very far. So perhaps if you are being held back, I want you to know that this is just another test of your faith. What else are you doing with your life? If it's not the pursuit of your dreams, what is it? It's what you're here to do, man. You came here to pursue that. And if you get to the end of your life on your deathbed, which is coming eventually, and you look back on a life where you maybe didn't, quote, get the outcome that you wanted, but you became resilient and determined and a fighter and kind, and you became educated and you understand the world in a way, you'll still be so damn proud of yourself, even if the outcome never came. Because it is who you are being here, not the outcome. You get the outcome, and we hear this all the time of people who seem to have it all. They have the fans, they have the love, they have the accolades, their career's amazing. They have everything that anybody could possibly think of ever wanting. And they're depressed and they end their lives. Because what's important is who you're becoming in the process. Make sure you're focusing on the who less than you are the outcome. Know where you're going. Once you know where the outcome is, drop it and become who you need to be in order to have that success. And focus on that, the who, not the what, not that outcome. And finally, our 7th or 6th, depending on how you're keeping score right now, is you got to surround yourself with winners. You got to surround yourself with people who are falling down and getting back up again. You can never fly like an eagle while you're strutting with the turkeys. You hanging out in a podcast like this is powerful because you're listening to things, you're consuming content, hanging out with people, even if it's just on a recording. You're hanging out with me, someone who is pursuing success in all areas of my life. You want to hang out with the people who are thinking like that. You want to hang out with the people who are motivated and inspired towards their dreams. If you're hanging out with the people who are complaining, if you're hanging out with the people who are holding themselves back and believing their limits, then you're going to become that. And this is not just the people you hang out with in the flesh, but the people you hang out with online, the things you're consuming, the stories that you're listening to, the movies that you're watching, the TV shows you're paying attention to, the music you're listening to. All of that is the people that you're spending time with. That's how you are spending and investing your time. You're becoming that. You are absorbing the environment around you. So it's important that you, as much as humanly possible, hang out with people who are going after theirs. And that might be intimidating. You might feel scared by that. Well, I don't want to hang out with the person who's already successful and I'm not because I feel less than. Rather than choosing yourself to feel less than, look at that person and watch how far you can grow in their presence. Learn from them. Watch them. See what they're doing. See how they're thinking. Yeah, you'll probably feel a little bit inadequate. Totally okay. Why? Because no one said it was going to be easy. And you're learning from them. By hanging out with someone who's you're intimidated to hang out with, intimidated to spend time with. Be that a coach, be that a mentor, be that a friend. Maybe it's someone in business. Oh, I don't really want to hang out with them because they're going to stretch me. Let them stretch you. That's the point. You can never be better at something if you do not have a worthy opponent. I could go ahead and play piano, quote, against people who don't know how to play the piano. And I will always beat them. And I feel like a winner. But I'm not. In fact, what happens when you compete against people who are, quote, worse than you get worse. But if I was to go ahead and hang out with my piano teacher, who is a successful pianist in her own right, when she plays, I'm like, oh man, look at who I'm becoming. That's coming for me because I'm spending time with these people. So just to have a bit of a recap, our first bonus on the 6 keys, which was the 7th key really, to building self-esteem for success in life, was to notice the success you already have. That's our first one, our bonus one. Notice the success you already have in your life. It will lead you to more success. The first actual one was stop thinking it's going to be easy. The second one here is long-term game plan, not a short-term game plan. Success is a long game. Number 3 here is get educated. Yep. Surround yourself. Learn, listen, grow yourself. Number 4 here is expect failure. Know that that's just simply a part of success. Number 5 is focus on who you're becoming rather than the outcome. Know what your outcome is and then concentrate on who you're becoming. And finally, number 6 here is surround yourself with people who are winning. Surround yourself with people who are succeeding, which means that they are failing, they're testing, they're measuring, they're getting back up again. Spend time with different people and you become a different person. Let me know. I would love to know what you thought about this. Shoot me through a WhatsApp message on +61 403 9881 597. That's +61 403 981 597. Send me through a voice message. Let me know who you are, where you come from. I might feature you on the podcast at some point in time. Or shoot me through an email at admin@moreconfidence.com.au. I would love to hear from you. You can listen to this and share it on any of your platforms that you usually listen to your podcast. I would absolutely love for you to leave a rating, certainly on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, so that more people can have access to this beautiful, life-changing and inspiring content. It's a pleasure to have you here. My name is Luna Gaia. If you are curious about any coaching, any of my courses, or to buy my #1 best-selling book, Perfectly Imperfect, please just follow the links in the show notes and you'll be able to get in contact with me. Changing your life is not always easy, but is most certainly worth it, my loves. Until next time, happy self-loving. Thank you so much for listening to the More Confidence with Luna Gaia podcast. I hope you feel more confident, more self-assured, and ready to go tackle the world's problems and maybe kick ass in some of your dreams. If you haven't already, I would love for you to like and subscribe, follow, and maybe leave a review so that other people know how to find this awesome podcast too. If you're wanting to sink your teeth into something even more juicy, my #1 best-selling book, Perfectly Imperfect, Your Complete Guide to Loving Yourself and Loving Your Body, is now available on all good bookstore sites, both in print, digital, and I narrated it for Audible as well. If you think the coaching or maybe one of my courses is for you, why not head to www.moreconfidence.com.au and get in touch and see if we can talk. And of course, you can find me all across the social medias. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, which is where you're probably listening now, or maybe even here on the podcast platform. Sending you big love and wishing you a beautiful day.